Welcome to the Bring Your Product Idea to Life podcast. This is the podcast for you if you're getting started selling products or if you'd like to create your own product to sell. I'm Vicki, a product creation coach and Amazon expert. Every week, I share friendly, practical advice as well as inspirational stories from small businesses. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to this episode of Bring Your Product Idea to Life. Thank you so much as always for listening. So today I want to talk to you about Amazon's AI shopping tools, particularly Rufus and Alexa for shopping. I have literally just done a session on this in Amazon Seller Support and Connect. Now that is my free monthly call for Amazon sellers. It's very informal. You just turn up, you can have your camera on, your camera off, you can come off mute and ask me questions, you can stay on mute and use the chat. I don't mind how you interact with me and everyone else in there. I always do a little update at the beginning and then it's just open for questions. It's a really relaxed call. They're not recorded. I've had lots of people asking about recording, so I've had to say actually they're not recorded, but of course they'll be getting the AI update in this podcast. So just to let you know, if you want to come along, you can find a link to that in the show notes for this episode. You can also find a link to that on my website, vickyweinberg.com, completely free, always the first Wednesday of every month. And the next meetup, we'll be talking about some of the Amazon changes that are coming up and some of the things that have happened recently. So you've got a bit of time over summer, hopefully, to get things in order. So let's talk again about Amazon's AI shopping tools. So some people are claiming these tools will completely change how customers shop on Amazon. I'm hearing people say Amazon SEO is dead. I'm hearing people say Amazon keywords no longer matter. So I wanted to talk to you about what's actually happening and what it really means for UK sellers in particular. However, if you're selling in the US, don't worry, I will talk about the US as well. So in this episode, I plan to separate the fact from the fiction, explain what these tools are, what they do, and importantly, what I think you need to be focusing on right now if you're selling on Amazon. So the first thing I want to talk about is why should you actually care? Because it's a fair question. Some of these tools aren't even fully available in the UK yet. And even if you're in the US where the tools are available, we don't actually know how widely adopted they are. So it might feel like this just is a bit irrelevant at the moment. But the reason I wanted to talk about it is that Amazon is investing heavily in AI-powered shopping experiences. So whether customers eventually use Rufus or Alexa for shopping or something else entirely, because who knows what Amazon may come up with, the direction of travel is really clear. Amazon wants to make it easier for customers to discover products by asking questions and describing what they need rather than simply typing keywords into a search box. So that doesn't mean everything changes overnight. As I say, these tools are being rolled out in the UK now quite slowly. Lots of people aren't even aware that they have them. And even those that are aware they have them might not be using them. But this is definitely where Amazon's heading. And so I might be a bit early in sharing this, but you know what? Always good to be ahead. So let's talk a little bit about what Amazon's AI shopping tools actually are, because I know terms like Rufus and Alexa for shopping and AI shopping assistant can sound a bit abstract if you don't know what I'm talking about. So let's start with Rufus because that's actually in the UK right now. So Rufus is Amazon's AI-powered shopping assistant. So if you're an Amazon customer in the UK, you might be able to see Rufus when you go to Amazon's homepage. I definitely do. So to the left of the search bar, I see a button that says Rufus. And if I click on it, I can ask shopping-related questions. So for example, instead of searching for a specific keyword like tea gift set or lunch bag, you could ask something a bit broader, such as what's a good gift for someone who loves tea, which lunch bag will keep my food cold all day, which sewing machine is best for beginners. You get the idea. That is quite different from traditional Amazon search because the customer isn't necessarily starting with a product name or keyword. They're describing a need, a problem, an occasion, or perhaps even the person that they're buying for. And Rufus can also appear on product listings. So if you go onto a product detail page on Amazon, whether that's on your browser or whether that's in mobile, and you scroll down towards the review section, so it literally sits just above it. It's very hard to describe, but you can follow along with me if you like. You may see a Rufus search box where you can ask questions about that specific product. And this is the part that I think sellers really need to be paying attention to. So a customer might ask, is this dishwasher safe? Is this suitable for sensitive skin? Will this fit in a car cup holder? Is this good for a small kitchen? Can this be used outdoors? Is it suitable as a gift? What are the main ingredients? You get the idea. And if the answer is clearly available in the listing, Rufus has something to work with and can bring the answer to the customer. If the information isn't there, Rufus might not be able to answer properly, or it might not be able to answer at all, and then the customer might decide to go and look at another product instead. And this really strengthens something you've heard me talk about before, which is that your Amazon listing needs to answer all the questions a potential customer might have before they buy. Now, when I say all the questions, of course, that could be infinite, but I think we all know for our products what the key questions are. Someone might ask. So if your product is skincare, people might want to know about ingredients. They might want to know, is it organic? They might want to know about the texture. They might want to know about the smell. They might want to know if it's pregnancy safe. And all of this information needs to be in the listing. So that doesn't mean this doesn't mean updating your keywords. It means making sure your listings are clear and they're useful. And that includes your title, your bullet points, your product description, your images, because Rufus can pull from image text as well, your A+ content, all of the attributes, customer questions. So the Q&A section on your A+ content is good for this as well. And also your reviews. Because Amazon has said, and actually let's be really clear on this, Amazon has said that Rufus is trained on Amazon's product catalogue information. So I'm reading this verbatim. This includes customer reviews, community Q&As, product detail pages, and information from across the web. Now, information from across the web is a bit vague. We don't know exactly what that means, but it looks like Amazon is pulling from all of these places when answering the customer's questions. So the more complete and helpful your product information is, the better chance Amazon has of understanding your product and helping customers understand it too. Now, I don't understand the sort of the hierarchy here. They haven't actually explained this. So where will they pull information from? If there's, for example, conflicted information in the listing and in the review, you'd hope that they would go with whatever said in the listing. There are lots we don't know about this yet, so I'm only sharing what I can share. But of course, as soon as I have any more updates on how any of this works, I will, of course, let you know. Now, let's talk a little bit about Alexa for shopping. This is related, but from a UK perspective, we have to talk about this a bit differently. So in the US, Amazon doesn't actually use the name Rufus anymore. Rufus has been merged into something called Alexa for Shopping, which brings Rufus and Alexa together into a more personalised shopping assistant. So this is available to US customers on the Amazon shopping app and the Amazon website, as Rufus is in the UK, but it's also available on Echo Show devices. And this is voice shopping, and it's also voice shopping on the Alexa speaker, but because it's on the Alexa Show app, Alexa Show, not app, what would you call it? Device. There's also on-screen shopping as well, and it could also work through a chat style experience similar to Rufus. So it also sits inside the main search bar for US customers, so it's not something customers have to choose to open. And Amazon has described Alexa for Shopping as being able to help customers research products, compare items, answer shopping questions, track prices, and make personalised suggestions. So Rufus is already visible in the UK for some customers. I'll be really honest, I've been having a look at this. It's available for me on my search bar. It is not available on every product listing at the moment. While Alexa for Shopping currently appears to be more US focused and seemed to be on most of it was when I went on my Amazon.com account, it seemed to be available as a search option and also on all listings that I checked. So there's definitely a broader shift towards AI shopping in both marketplaces. And it's clear from all of this, I think, that Amazon wants customers to be able to shop by asking questions, comparing options, and describing what they need, not just by typing search keywords into the search bar. And I know I've said that a few times, so I think that's really important. And I think this matters because it changes how we think about product content. So keywords are still important, but we also need listings that answer real customers' questions. And I'm just going to go over now. I'd love to talk about some of the myths and misconceptions that I've heard and sort of debunk them a little bit. Now, the first thing I've heard is that now what this means is that Amazon SEO is dead. I disagree. I think Amazon still needs to understand what a product is and when it's relevant, and actually perhaps even more so. So if you sell an organic face cream, Amazon still needs to know it's an organic face cream. Yes, it needs to know, all the other things I mentioned, so the ingredients, whether it's pregnancy safe, etc., etc. But effectively it is an organic face cream, and Amazon does still need to know that. So I think keywords do still matter. I've heard people say, they don't matter anymore. But again, I think that's another myth. Customers might ask questions differently, but Amazon still needs to rely on your keywords to understand the relevance. So you need to know the words and phrases customers are using to find your products. It might mean the keywords change slightly. In fact, they possibly will. Once AI shopping is more heavily adopted and the way people search changes, it might be that your keywords for your listings have to change, but actually keywords will still play a part. Another myth I've heard is that you will need a completely new Rufus strategy, and I don't think so. I think most of the advice being marketed now as Rufus optimization, and by the way, this is all sort of US, Amazon selling newsletters and things that I'm subscribed to. I haven't heard much talk about this in the UK at all. I want to be really transparent about that. So everything I'm hearing is coming from the US. But all the advice I see about Rufus optimization is actually just good listing practice anyway. So having really clear titles, having strong bullet points, making sure your attributes are complete, and just making sure that all the customer focused content is as good as it can possibly be. None of that is new. That's stuff that we should be doing already. And then the final myth I've heard is that AI will replace customer decision making. I disagree with this. I think customers will still make purchasing decisions. I think at the moment, AI tools are helping customers discover and compare products, but they're not making purchases on their behalf. And of course, I can't predict what will happen down the line. Maybe at some point that will be the case, but in the foreseeable future, that doesn't seem to be the way this is going. It seems to be more that AI is helping customers make decisions and putting relevant products in front of them rather than actually making all the purchasing decisions. So let's talk about what you need to do differently. Well, first of all, I don't think you need to do loads of things differently. For most of you, I don't think you're going to need to make dramatic changes. What I would do over the summer, hopefully if you've got a little bit of time or whenever you do have a little bit of time, is just do some simple checks. So check, is your product information all there? Is everything that customer needs to know about your product included somewhere in your listing? Are all the attributes for your product in Seller Central complete, and are they accurate? Are your descriptions really clear? Are your images really strong? If you don't have any infographics, this could be a good time to actually introduce graphics and text, because Amazon will be pulling image text from your images and your A+ to answer questions using Rufus. And do you have some strong reviews? And I think those are the things that you can think about. Something you can actually do is think about the questions that customers regularly ask you. So, for example, is it dishwasher safe? Will it fit? Is it suitable for sensitive skin? Is it waterproof? Is it organic, etc., etc.? And just make sure all of those things are already in your listing. Some practical things you could do are ask yourself, what questions might somebody reasonably have about my product? You can ask a friend or colleague, or maybe someone who isn't super close to your product, to come up with the same list of questions. If you have Rufus on your product listings, when you go to view your listings as a customer, you can then type in all of the questions you've got and see what answers come up. And if anything comes up that's inaccurate, or there's anything that Rufus can't answer, you need to add that to your product description so far. And something else I just want to quickly mention is sponsored prompts, because I think this is just worth knowing about. Nothing for you to do or action, but I think this is useful. So if you're a seller running sponsored products or sponsored brands ads in the US, Amazon has started layering AI generated prompts on top of those campaigns automatically. So what this basically means is when a customer is chatting with Alexa for shopping, because remember this is just in the US now, your product might be shown as a sponsored answer to their question using your own listed content to generate it. So you don't have to set anything up. It's already switched on. And since March this year, it's been a biddable click. And I believe it's in beta mode. Actually, I think it went from general availability at the end of March. So if anyone asks a question that's relevant to your product and your product shows up in Rufus, because remember we're just talking about the US, you'll pay a cost per click the same as a normal click. So if you're a seller in the US and you're running ads, you might already be paying for this without having done anything, but at the moment you can't see where those clicks are coming from. So the Amazon Ads Console at the moment isn't making this very clear. There's no confirmed UK rollout date for this yet, but I'd be amazed if it doesn't follow, because let's face it, Amazon advertising is a way of, well, one, you generating more traffic and hopefully making more sales, but also a way of Amazon making more money. So I can't see that this isn't going to roll out. And if you're running ads in the US, I think it's worth logging in and seeing if anything is showing up for you, because you may or may not have this feature yet. So in terms of what I'm seeing so far myself, because I've been having a little play around with this because I thought it was worth it. I asked Rufus, so the chatbot in the UK, for the best gear for a beginner climber. And Rufus replied, I'll tell you exactly what it said. It said, to recommend the best climbing gear for you, I'd like to understand your specific needs. What type of climbing are you planning? Indoor bouldering, outdoor sport climbing, traditional climbing or mountaineering? What's your experience of climbing? Do you have a budget range in mind? So I told it I'm an experienced boulderer, and that gave me suggestions of essential kit broken down into sections. So it gave me suggestions for climbing shoes, chalk bags, chalk and accessories. And each product recommended showed the main image, the first 75 characters of the title and the star rating. I could click through to any of the products, or I could carry on the conversation. So, for example, I could say, oh, actually, these are a bit expensive. Is there anything slightly cheaper? I'm sure that if I'd played about a little bit more, I could say, oh, actually, do you have any shoes that are yellow? All of these things. It seems, from playing about with it, it seems infinite, the questions you can ask, and it will always just keep showing you more and more. So if you haven't already, it could also be worth having a little play about yourself, particularly ask about products similar to yours and see if your products come up in Rufus. This is definitely something I'll be testing for the brands that I work with. So I will be asking Amazon to show me products that I feel. So I will be asking Amazon leading questions that I believe should show products that I already am aware of, and just to see what comes up, because I think this is a useful test. And so just to close this, I want to say my biggest takeaway is I don't think this is something to panic about. I don't think this fundamentally changes what you need to do to sell successfully on Amazon. I don't think this is all happening overnight. And I think it just reinforces what I've been saying for a long time, which is if you clearly communicate what your products are, who they're for, why customers should buy them, and you can answer all of the questions that a customer might have about your product within the listing, I think you're still going to do well, regardless of whether customers use traditional search, whether they use Rufus, Alexa for shopping, or whatever Amazon launches next. I think if you focus on helping customers understand your products, you'll be moving in the right direction. And as I said earlier, if you want to test this out for yourself, I would really recommend playing about with these tools from a customer perspective, searching, having a chat with Rufus, trying to prompt it to show your product in the chat, going onto your product listings. If you have Rufus showing on your listings, I would definitely be asking it all kinds of questions about your product and, checking that the information it brings up is accurate. These are all really useful things you could be doing now, but I don't think it's a big strategy change. I don't think it's major listing updates. And I also think we have a little bit of time as well. So if any of this has raised questions for you, or you just want to talk any of it through, do come along to my next free Amazon Sellers Support and Connect call. I mentioned this earlier, that they're on the first Wednesday of every month. They're completely free. And it doesn't matter whether this is your first time joining or your fifth time joining, you are always welcome. You do not need to come to every one. It's like an optional drop-in thing. I'm there for an hour. Come and ask me some questions. So you can bring your questions from this episode, anything else that's on your mind to do with Amazon. As I say, the details for this will be in the show notes, and the next one is the 5th of August, and you would be very welcome. So that is it from me today. That was my brief AI update, and I really look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you so much for listening right to the end of this episode. Do remember that you can get the full back catalogue and lots of free resources on my website, vickyweinberg.com. Please do remember to rate and review this episode if you've enjoyed it, and also share it with a friend who you think might find it useful. Thank you again, and see you next week. Hello, if you're selling on Amazon or you're planning to and you'd like ongoing support as you go, I've just opened the doors to my membership, Amazon Made Easy. It's a space for product-based business owners who want expert guidance, somewhere to ask questions, and a bit of structure and accountability while they build and grow on Amazon. Inside, you'll get regular live Q&A calls with me, optional co-working sessions, practical resources, and a supportive community of people all working on similar things. It's designed to make selling on Amazon feel clearer, simpler, and much less overwhelming, and to give you somewhere to go where you're stuck or unsure of what to do next. You can join at any time and stay for as long as it's helpful. And if you'd like to take a look, you'll find the full link in the show notes.